Have you ever wondered why some people seem to walk in sunlight while others remain trapped in shadows? Why do some individuals radiate happiness even when life tests them, while others, surrounded by every comfort, feel miserable inside? Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you may change the entire course of your emotional destiny. I once discovered a truth so simple, yet so powerful, that it shattered every excuse mankind ever made for being unhappy. And the truth is this: you can attract happiness just as you can attract wealth, success, or love. Pause for a moment. Think about that. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you magnetize. And the magnet that pulls it toward you is your mental attitude. Now, here's a secret most people never learn. There is very little difference between people, but that little difference makes all the difference in the world. That difference is attitude. And the big difference is whether it is positive or negative. A person who carries a positive mental attitude walks through life like a sunbeam. He doesn't wait for happiness to visit, he creates it. He doesn't search for joy, he becomes it. And the person who carries a negative mental attitude, repels happiness like oil repels water. He doesn't just lose joy, he drives it away. Now, before you move on, ask yourself this question: which side of your mental coin are you living on right now? Because the truth is, happiness isn't hiding from you. You've simply been turning the wrong side of your mind toward the world. Let me tell you something that may surprise you. Abraham Lincoln once said, "People are just about as happy as they make up their minds to be." That single thought, if truly understood, can free you from years of silent misery. But the question remains: how does one make up their mind to be happy? How do you control an emotion so elusive, so fragile, that it seems to vanish the moment you reach for it? Here's where most people go wrong. They chase happiness as if it's hiding in the next car, the next job, or the next relationship. They run after it, until they are too tired to notice that it was quietly sitting within them all along. Now, listen, this is vital. Happiness cannot be found by searching for it directly. It comes as a byproduct of service, gratitude, and love. When you focus on making someone else happy, happiness circles back to you like an echo in a canyon. You send out joy, and joy finds its way home. A woman once told me a story I have never forgotten. She and her husband, newly married, lived beside an old couple, the wife blind, the husband frail and weary. One Christmas Eve, the young pair decided to surprise them. They brought over a tiny tree decorated with ribbons, lights, and a few small gifts. The old woman wept as she touched the glittering ornaments. Her husband whispered, "It's been years since we had a tree." And every time they visited them after that, the couple spoke of that little tree again and again. It was such a small act, but it made their world bright for an entire year. And the young couple discovered something profound. The surest way to find happiness is to create it in someone else's heart. So here's your first lesson. Stop searching for happiness. Start giving it. Pause here and breathe this in. When you make another person happy, you create a chain reaction that circles back and multiplies within you. That's the law of emotional magnetism. But let's go deeper. Why do some people, even when surrounded by blessings, still feel miserable? Why do they sabotage their own joy? Because they have trained their minds to focus on what's missing, instead of what's present. They have built the habit of complaint instead of gratitude. Happiness is like a garden. It grows only where it is watered with appreciation. Complainers plant weeds. The grateful plant flowers. The soil is the same, only the gardener is different. Now, let me share with you a remarkable example of happiness in its purest form. Surely, if ever there was a person who might have been expected to complain of unhappiness, it was Helen Keller. She was born deaf, blind, and mute, locked away from sound, sight, and speech. Yet Helen Keller was one of the happiest human beings who ever lived. How? Because she counted her blessings instead of her burdens. She focused on what she could do, not what she couldn't. And the universe rewarded her with wisdom, joy, and purpose. Here's the secret she lived by. And it's the same principle I teach you now. The more you share happiness, the more you will have. The more you hoard it, the faster it dies. That is not poetry. That is psychology. That is truth. If you share misery, you multiply misery. If you share happiness, you multiply happiness. So, the next time you feel lonely, unappreciated, or down, don't wait for someone to rescue you. Be the rescuer. Reach out to someone in need. Share a kind word, a small favor, a smile, and watch how fast happiness returns. Happiness is not about what you have. It's about what you give from what you have. And now, here's something most people never realize until it's too late. When you withhold good things from others, your own portion of good begins to shrink. But when you share, it grows richer within you. Do you see it now? Life is a mirror. It reflects not what you wish for, but what you project. Project kindness, receive kindness. Project gratitude, receive abundance. Project happiness, and happiness becomes your shadow. My friend, this is not a myth. It is the universal law of attraction applied to the emotion of joy. And it begins in your thoughts. Because every thought is a seed, and every seed produces after its kind. Plant a thought of joy, reap a harvest of peace. Plant a thought of envy, reap a harvest of misery. You can attract happiness, not someday, not after success, not after love finds you, but now, by making up your mind to be happy and to make others happy right where you are. That is where your transformation begins. Your transformation begins the moment you decide that happiness is not an accident. It is a discipline. And discipline, my friend, is what separates dreamers from achievers, and wanderers from masters. Most people want happiness to appear like sunshine after rain. But real happiness doesn't depend on the weather. It depends on the climate of your mind. Let me tell you a truth. Every relationship you have, every face you see, every word you speak, adds to or subtracts from your happiness account. You are either investing in joy or spending it foolishly. Pause and think. Are the people closest to you adding warmth to your life? Or are they draining it? Because environment is contagious. You either lift others up or you let them pull you down. You cannot fly with eagles while scratching with chickens. And you cannot remain joyful while living among habitual complainers. But don't rush to blame others. The first step to changing your environment is to change your vibration within it. If you radiate calm, negativity loses its power around you. If you project kindness, even the hardest hearts soften in your presence. Now, here's the secret. Happiness does not live in isolation. It thrives in connection. It's not about how many friends you have. It's about how deeply you care for the few that truly matter. The happiest homes are not the biggest ones. They are the ones where love is spoken daily in small gestures. A smile over breakfast, a thank you for ordinary help, a hand held in silence. You see, happiness grows in homes where people are seen, heard, and valued. And it withers where criticism replaces appreciation. So ask yourself right now, when was the last time you truly thanked someone you live with? Not out of habit, but out of heart. Because gratitude spoken aloud is the fertilizer of joy. Say thank you often enough, and happiness will bloom even in ordinary soil. Now, let's go even deeper, to the secret laboratory of your thoughts. Your mind is a broadcasting station. Every thought you send out becomes a signal that shapes the way others treat you. If you think you are unloved, you begin to act unloved, and the world believes you. If you think you are blessed, your tone, your eyes, your walk, everything begins to confirm it, and the world agrees. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you believe you deserve. That's why the happiest people are not always the luckiest. They are the ones who silently affirm, I deserve peace. I deserve joy. I deserve love. And because they believe it, they behave in ways that invite it. Here's something astonishing. Happiness increases when it is shared, but multiplies when it is expressed. If a loving thought remains unspoken, it fades. But when you say, I appreciate you, or I'm proud of you, it turns into living energy that circles back to bless you both. Don't wait for special occasions to express kindness. Every day is a silent invitation to lift a soul. Now, remember this. Every human being you meet carries an invisible sign around their neck that reads, "Make me feel important." If you learn to read that sign and respond to it sincerely, happiness will chase you. Why? Because people will associate your presence with relief, safety, and joy. And that is the essence of emotional magnetism. But let me warn you, happiness is not maintained by mere words. It demands inner work. You must clean your mental workshop daily. Sweep away envy before it becomes bitterness. Replace gossip with encouragement. Trade fear for faith. You cannot build joy on the foundation of resentment. Forgiveness, my friend, is the broom that clears space for happiness to enter. Think of it this way. Anger is a loan you give to your enemy, but it collects interest from your peace. Every grudge you hold becomes a thief in your emotional treasury. So, let it go. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. And freedom is the soil where happiness takes root. Now, let's talk about one of the most overlooked keys to happiness: purpose. A person without purpose may enjoy moments of pleasure, but never the serenity of lasting happiness. Purpose is the compass that keeps your joy from drifting. It gives meaning to your mornings and direction to your nights. When you wake up with a reason to serve, to grow, to create, you are already halfway to happiness. Because purpose turns struggle into progress and effort into satisfaction. You don't need to wait for a grand mission. Sometimes purpose is as simple as doing your best in whatever task lies before you. Cooking a meal with love, teaching a child with patience, doing honest work even when no one watches. Happiness hides in these moments of sincere effort. It's not the act itself, it's the spirit behind it. Now listen carefully. The greatest destroyer of happiness is comparison. When you measure your joy against someone else's achievements, you declare war against your own peace. Every person walks a unique path, designed with trials suited for their growth. What fits them may suffocate you. So stop comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. Instead, compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. That's the race worth running. And when you improve, even a little, celebrate it. Don't wait for the world's applause. Your own acknowledgement is enough to feed the soul. Because happiness is not a destination, it's a rhythm. A steady heartbeat of appreciation for the present moment. So, whenever life tests you, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can I learn from this that will make me stronger and happier?" Every difficulty carries the seed of an equal or greater benefit, but only the positive mind can see it. Remember, unhappiness grows in the dark corners of neglect. Keep your mind well lit with gratitude, your heart open with kindness, and your tongue alive with encouragement. Do that, and happiness will become your permanent guest, not a visitor who comes and goes. Because happiness does not respond to luck, it responds to law. The same law that governs gravity governs joy. What you give out comes back multiplied. Give peace, receive peace. Give smiles, receive smiles. Give faith, receive miracles. And as you practice this daily, you will notice something subtle yet powerful. The world itself will begin to treat you differently. Doors will open. People will smile. Opportunities will appear where there were only walls. That is the visible proof that happiness, real, magnetic, unstoppable happiness has found its rightful owner. And that owner is you. And now, my friend, let us arrive at the final secret. The art of turning happiness from a fleeting visitor into a lifelong resident. Because temporary joy is easy. Anyone can feel happy when things go right. But permanent happiness that requires mastery. It demands a conscious reprogramming of the mind. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant, gratitude, fear, anger, love, it will grow them. The question is not whether your mind will grow something. The question is, what are you allowing it to grow? You cannot plant thorns and expect roses. You cannot water resentment and expect peace. And yet, that's what millions do. They live in a garden of complaints and then wonder why their life doesn't smell like joy. Permanent happiness begins when you take control of your mental garden. Every morning, when you wake up, ask yourself, what thoughts am I planting today? Before you scroll, before you complain, before you open the door to the noise of the world, take a moment of silence. This silence is sacred. It's where your inner weather is formed. Decide that no matter what happens outside, your inner atmosphere will remain calm, grateful, and open to growth. Here lies a truth that will liberate you. You do not experience the world as it is. You experience the world as you are. Change the lens, and the world changes with it. You might meet two people in the same day. 2-1. The world is cruel, unfair, and cold. To the other, the same world is full of opportunity, learning, and unseen blessings. The difference is not the world, it is the mindset. Your happiness depends not on events, but on interpretations. It's not what happens to you, it's how you talk to yourself about what happens. Train your inner dialogue. Make it the voice of a wise friend, not a harsh critic. When you fail, don't say, I'm worthless. Say, I've discovered one more way that didn't work. When you're rejected, don't say, I'm not enough. Say, that door closed because something better is on its way. This shift in language rewires your emotional circuit. Because words are not just sounds, they are frequencies that tune your mind. Repeat this often enough, and you'll start to notice something powerful. You no longer chase happiness. You become happiness. You radiate it. And just like a magnet, whatever resonates with your frequency begins to move toward you. This is not spiritual poetry, it's scientific law. Every emotion carries a vibration. Gratitude vibrates high. Fear vibrates low. When you stay in gratitude, you literally tune your mind to the frequency of miracles. And gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means finding meaning through the pain. It means saying, this challenge is refining me, not defining me. Now listen carefully, because this might be the most important line you'll ever remember. Happiness is not the reward for growth. Happiness is the fuel for growth. When you're happy, you create better, love deeper, think clearer, and attract faster. So, don't wait to be happy after you succeed. Succeed because you've already chosen to be happy. The happiest people I've met were not those who had perfect lives. They were those who refused to let imperfect moments steal their perfect peace. You see, happiness is not freedom from problems. It's freedom within problems. It's the ability to smile while you're still climbing the mountain. And once you understand this, every storm in your life becomes sacred. Because each one polishes your soul a little brighter. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You step into mastery. And mastery of happiness is not a talent, it's a discipline. Discipline to see good when it's easy to see bad. Discipline to remain kind when the world feels cruel. Discipline to smile, not because everything is perfect, but because your faith is. Let me share a secret used by the world's calmest, richest, and most influential minds. They all practiced what I call the 3 gratitude anchors. First, they started and ended every day with appreciation, even for the smallest things. A warm cup of coffee, a sunrise, a friend's text. They didn't wait for big miracles. They trained their mind to see small ones daily. Second, they gave value before they expected value. They smiled first. They helped first. They forgave first. And life repaid them with peace beyond imagination. Third, they turned routine moments into rituals. A simple walk became meditation. A conversation became connection. Work became worship. That's how happiness becomes permanent when you stop treating it like a feeling and start treating it like a practice. Because happiness is not something you find. It's something you build brick by brick, thought by thought, act by act. You become unshakably happy the moment you stop outsourcing your peace. Stop waiting for others to behave. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for someday. Because someday is not a day of the week. If you can smile today, you've already defeated half the misery of the world. My friend, The journey to permanent happiness is not about chasing pleasure or avoiding pain. It's about presence. It's about learning to sit with yourself and still feel complete. When you're alone, learn to be your own best company. When you're with others, learn to be the calm in their storm. This is how you become a lighthouse, not because life is easy, but because your light refuses to go out. And in that light, others will find their way to. That's the hidden law of joy. You keep it only by giving it away. So, start now, wherever you are. Look around and find one thing to appreciate. One person to uplift. One thought to be thankful for. Do that every day. And happiness will stop being a guest. It will become your identity. Remember this final truth. The happiest people are not the luckiest. They are the most intentional. They design their emotions as carefully as an artist paints a masterpiece. And you can do the same. Because happiness, my friend, is not found at the end of the road. It is the road. Walk it daily, gratefully, and courageously. And one morning, you'll wake up and realize you didn't just attract happiness. You became it.